Hello everyone, it's Omae and welcome back to the brand new video. Today, Shanks is going to be the topic. This guy is a beast, but he's very specific in the way that you need to use him because there was one piece of context that was missing that actually using him in Pirate Rumble revealed. So, first off, I want to show you guys what happens when you run Shanks on the main lineup. I'm going to use the team with Free Spirit, Nika Luffy, Kuma, the Zoro versus Nustro, and also this guy here, Caesar. But for the first team here, we're going to go against one without Zoro versus Nustro. The team, you might be thinking, what is this team that I'm running, bro? Well, this is the giveaway account, so I had to kind of make a scuffed strength cerebral team. I did end up pulling the Crocodile and Mihawk off camera, as well as the Beckman and Yasop. So we're going to be testing these guys with the new Shanks, as well as Usopp and Lilith, who go fairly well with the cerebral and shooter characters, and then the 6-star waifus in this unsuper evolved form. That confusion is still very powerful. And then what will happen is Jinbei will come in with the sub swap ability for both Beckman and Yasop and Shanks. However, the big problem here, you'll see it the second the moment the match begins. I want you guys to focus on the cooldowns of your characters, the charge time. How is the bar looking in these very first few seconds, and can you notice what is wrong? Did you see that? So unfortunately, the delay from Shanks's passive ability happens before the special charge time reduction of the passive of Caesar and all these other passives, including versus Zoro. In other words, Caesar will still be ready right at the start, full special, and he will still activate. Same goes for versus Zoro. All these characters that have instant activation specials. And yeah, this will probably lead to your death because these specials like Caesar and Zoro can be really annoying. Although in this situation, we got pretty lucky. We got the bandit swapped into the main position. He will die very quickly, and then Beckman and Yasop will come back in and give themselves 50% CT. Now, I'm not going to run the bandit on this type of lineup because he doesn't have the Rumble special. It's very important that the character that you swap with Beckman and Yasop has a Rumble special. Otherwise, Yasop and Beckman's 50% CT that they gave themselves after the special will be wasted, because essentially that CT gets transferred over to the swapped character that now goes to the main lineup. But if the character doesn't have a Rumble special, that CT essentially gets thrown into the trash. But in the ideal situation, Beckman is swapped with a very weak character that still has a Rumble special, someone like Golden Pound Usopp. Usopp dies very quickly, and then Beckman Yasop comes in, gives them 50% CT for entering the field, and also he inherits that 50% CT from the weak character, meaning that you can use Beckman and Yasop multiple times within a very short time frame, because he essentially charges his own special to 100% again. It's a bit hard to explain that, but regardless, this was pretty easy, mainly because the enemy is using 10th anniversary Shanks for some reason, making it very easy to kill. But I want to show you guys what I'm talking about when it comes to running the bandit on the main lineup. And then the bandit is so important because he's the weakest character in the entire game. He dies instantly, like the first second of the match he will die. So this happens so quickly that it's impossible for Zoro versus Zoro to act and use his special before Shanks comes in. So I'm going to put the bandit here in the middle position. If you're running a attack team in Rumble, the middle position character is the frontmost position, meaning they're most likely to take the normal attacks from the enemy the most. So he has 17 HP. He does get defense up from the main lineup characters, but he will still die in one hit. The reason we want to run the shooter bandit instead of the slasher one is because Usopp and Lilith wants us to have 6 characters that are either cerebral or slasher. Shooter. So we have a cerebral in Crocodile Mihawk, cerebral and shooter through Yasop Beckman, the shooter themselves, Usopp Lilith, and then also the Shanks, that makes 5. And then finally we have Cerebral from Jinbei. This Halmepo isn't really necessary on the team, he's just kind of there. But let's take a look at how this is going to go. It's actually probably smarter for me to put this character here. This unit is very fragile. Same goes for the waifus. So putting them at the backmost positions on the 2 sides is very important. So I'm going to try and face a Zoro versus Nostro team now. But the main key detail here is that Shanks is going to come in 1 second into the battle, not as soon as the battle begins. This will allow him to proc after the enemy charges their special, being Zoro versus Nostro and Caesar. So let's see how this goes. I'm still not sure if we're going to win, just because my team is very scuffed, besides the combo of Beckman and Yasop, as well as the new Shanks. But I have pretty high hopes. I did beat them 1 time, and they were very high leveled. Well, you know what? Let's actually first go up against a sword team here. I'm quite interested to see what's going to happen here. I literally have never tried this combo against the Navy team with Garb Kobe, Hibari, etc. They don't have Kujaku or Prince Groose, so I doubt this is going to be a challenge. Regardless, I am very interested. I think Garb and Kobe has a death hit, so yeah, you would definitely want to use Emu against this team, just because that ability bind will prevent that death hit from Garb and Kobe. Okay, there we go. Bandit dies. It took a bit longer than usually it does. But if there's a Nika Bonnie on the enemy team, they will instantly be the first to attack and always kills the bandit in the first second. This is because Nika Bonnie has a very high speed stat. And the first unit to act in the entire Rumble match is determined solely by the pure speed stat a character has. So Nika Bonnie almost always acts as the first unit in any match. And it does target the closest enemy, which is the middle row units, the bandit. Okay, well, Shanks is going to do a shit ton of damage. Entire lineup did. This is really easy, but it's not going to be so easy when we take a look at the Caesar and versus Zoro team. But yeah, we did tank that. They did pretty well. Jinbei comes in and gives us like resistance to forced out, gives us some defense up, attack up. The waifus really aren't that helpful. I was pulling a lot to try and get Christmas Uta, which is probably not a good idea. I should have saved the gems on this account, the rest of the like 400 gems for Buggy tomorrow. But I really wanted to get Christmas Uta on here because she would be so amazing on this team. Same goes for Marcus Mars. If you are trying to run the combo of Shanks and Emu, Marcus Mars is essentially a requirement. We might be able to make do with the new free-to-play Nostro, since he is a 20 cost unit whose strength as well. So that's going to be exciting. That unit's going to deserve his entire own video. He's going to come out with the Blitz Battle as a reward for clearing. So that's quite exciting. That's going to make these teams a lot easier to build, right? Okay, this is just a bit of a better Nika Bonnie team than before, but there's no Caesar either, so I really want to test and show you guys how good this can be. Okay, here we are. This is a very powerful Nika Bonnie team. Let's take a look. No Caesar, so last match we were going against only Caesar, now we're going up against only versus Zoro. So if we can beat this gauntlet, then we can move on to the final test, which is both Caesar and versus Zoro. So yeah, he's gonna get his cooldown maxed. Bandit should die instantly. Nika Bonnie's first to act, kills the bandit. What did I tell you? Shanks comes in, literally second, delays Zoro by 30% CT. He doesn't act here. Shit. He's getting delayed in the queue. That you don't actually want that. You want him to act quick. Maybe we have too many speed up buffs on the team. That is also a problem. That can also not be a good thing. Speed is a very temperamental stat in Rumble. Sometimes it's better to have a lower stat for speed. Okay, we got the bind. Sometimes the bind happens to Zoro. He does not resist action bind, which is very crucial. Okay, Beckman and Yasop is acting. decent damage. Completely got through the shield on Zoro, which is awesome. Now Junbei is on the main lineup. Wait, that was Shanks acting. I thought that was Bigman and Yasop. Paralysis. Nice. Oh, that is amazing. That is amazing. And now Shanks is back on the main lineup. He inherited the cooldown that Bigman and Yasop gave himself. 50%. Bigman and Yasop gives themselves CT after using the special, which Shanks now inherited by moving to the main lineup. Super special of Crocodile Mihawk. This will do a lot of damage, I think. Yeah, that's a lot of damage. Nice, nice, nice. Kuma's useless without Nika Bunny. Okay, yeah, I feel like the team handled that very well. I was expecting... yeah, Shanks. My goat. My goat. This account had literally no units this morning, and now we're already beating the free spread Nika Bunny team. Isn't that crazy? Massive journey here. Go check out the giveaway summons. This account will be given away for free. All you need to do is go and comment on the pool video where I did over 3,000 gems worth of summons on part 1 of the 12th anniversary Sugo Fest. So now let's do the final gauntlet, which is Nika Bunny, Kuma, Caesar, and versus Zoro. And let's see if we can win. And here it is, folks, the final challenge. We also have Junbei on the bench, which is quite intimidating, versus Zoro's level 150, and probably also Limit Break expanded, so that guy's going to be tanky. I feel like the only way we're going to win here is if Usopp Lilith action binds Zoro. I like genuinely, like, Zoro just does so much. His damage is actually really powerful. He provides that insane shield. He activates so early. Even if you delay him, he will be back very, very soon. Okay, there we go. As I said, it's super reliable. Luffy Bunny will always act first and kill the nearest character, so it's important that you put that weak bandit in the frontmost position. Okay, Zoro still acts, but it's not the biggest deal here. As you can see, we tank it very well, and also our units have resistance to dex damage, so Zoro doesn't do as much. Usopp Lilith, my goat. Okay, delayed Caesar. It was kind of pointless delaying Zoro, I can't lie. That was a bit stupid. But he did action bind their Usopp Lilith, which is super nice. Okay. And then the sub swap. He's going to charge his own CT by 50%. Swap. Now Junbei has almost max cooldown. Nice. Yes. This should do a lot of damage, right? Oh, yes, that did a lot of damage. That did a lot of damage. Caesar, it's too late. You're not going to do anything substantial now. You're going to give us speed down, defense down, attack down. But honestly, it's way too late for that. You're not even doing damage. Get off my screen. Nika Bunny, also helpless without Kuma now. They are way too reliant on each other, right? Not a very modular duo. Okay. He doesn't do any damage if he's not with the Rumble special, the super special, I mean. Ooh, okay. Now Shanks will come in and inherit that, so that's fine. That's fine, honestly. Shanks will now just like one-shot everyone. Okay, Junbei. Attack up my boy Shanks. Give everyone CT, which is kind of pointless at this point. Hey, who did that? Who did that? Who gave me the CT delay? It's fine, it's fine, it's fine. Bye-bye. Did you see that? That was like 60k damage on Shanks. Oh, that was insane. Of course, at the end of the battle, everyone has lower defense in the last 30 seconds. But regardless, it's fun to see those massive damage multipliers. Am I right? So yeah, we beat the best variant of the Nika Bunny team, I would say. The only thing that could maybe make this team better is maybe the Rumble Ace. But I'm not willing to test that. I'm not willing to test that, guys. So thank you guys for watching. If you have any questions about the Nika Bunny team and this strategy of using a very weak bandit in the front line, then ask me down below. This thing with the bandit, it works best against any team with Nika Bunny. I'm not sure about other teams. We can test them out in another video. But today, We first beat a Caesar team, then we beat a versus Zora team, and then we also beat a Caesar and a versus Zora team, which is pretty nice. My Jumba is also no cotton candy. I didn't even realize that. But thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace, and I'm out.